Welcome back. Now we're going to start doing our compression and our EQ. Or I should say just compression. We've done our balance. We've got our panning that we like. And so let's jump in and we'll do some compression. I'll send some reverb. Our side chaining, we'll do some side chaining to really get the kick to punch through. And yeah, so let's first start by adding a compressor or an EQ, I guess. We'll move. Oh, actually, let's undo that. We're going to start by adding a compressor, and I really like FabFilter's C2 compressor. I find it to work very, very well for me. And then, so let's start with that. I'm going to turn off everything here. So let's start by, let's see here. Let's do one by one here. And we're going to this is kind of the tricky part. Compression is very tricky. You can't overdo it and you can't underdo it. You want to make sure that you're achieving what you need to achieve with the compressor, but you don't want to achieve it to an extent where it's so dramatic where you're going to get pumping and you're going to get artifacts and you're actually destroying your sound. That's not what we want. So for our kick, generally with percussion, I like to get about 6 dB of compression, depending on the sample, depending on the kick. I like to have a faster attack to get the transient through, to get that kind of click, if there is a click. Let's see, hard knee. So let's listen to what the kick sounds like here. See, like there, we're totally killing the kick. It's totally losing all of its flavor. It's got way too much compression. And I'm going to change the style on it. I'm going to change it to punch. Kind of like that. Let's move this up a little bit more and we'll do the yeah, I like how that sounds so far. We still have kind of the weight, we have kind of the click. So let's bypass it. It's kind of thin. It's kind of thinned out, but then again, it's just a low end thump is what it is. So the compressor is going to react a little bit differently. It's going to hit. It sounds a little bit different because you don't have the harmonics to really listen to. You just have that low end thump. It's really kind of hard to differentiate. So for right now, I like how that sounds. So let's move on to the snare. Let's get some compression on the snare here. So again, I want to do the punching just because for percussion I like punch. So let's turn auto gain off. I like that. I really like how that sounds. Yep, it's kind of gluing it in. So let's move on to the second snare. Snare 2, I guess. gain off, make this smaller. And again, let's move this to punch. Cool. Yep, I like that. So let's move on to our hi-hats. Our hi-hats are going to be pretty easy because generally I don't compress them a whole lot. Just for the fact that, I mean, they're hi-hats, there's not a whole lot of dynamic range, especially in samples. So let's bring it down. I think that'll work. So actually being that that's kind of a similar sample, I'm going to drag this compressor over and I'm going to use that as kind of a preset here. That's maybe a little bit too hard hitting for me. Let's bring it down. Cool. I like that. Let's bring up the volume a bit. Cool. I like that. And our reverse crash is here. Let's do that. This one, let's see. This one, I'm not going to turn on punch. I'm going to leave it on clean just because there's really not a lot of punch to it. So let's see. We can do a slower attack, a slower release. We can do a little bit less. Do a softer knee. That might be a little bit too much compression. Cool. Rock on, and we'll bring up the volume a little bit. Just because I like that. Just like, I like that swishing because like, oh, we have a transition here. So, now let's move on to our samples and let's get some compression on those. So we'll start with, our intro sample. Actually, no, we're going to start with our sample 4 here. We'll turn that on. And we'll turn the audio gain off. And the clean, I kind of like the clean on this. So let's play it and we'll see what we got here. So we have some percussive, if we solo it, we have some percussive elements, we have some punchiness. So we kind of want to level those out. However, I'm going to parallel process this like I did in the last one because I really like the way it sounded. Simply because I don't know, I just kind of like that distortion. And I'm going to do it, I know you can parallel process right in Pro C here, but I like to do it a different way because I've been doing it for so long, so I just prefer that method. So I don't want to do a lot of compression on this because we're going to parallel process. So let's do a kind of a faster or a slower attack. We'll do a slower release. We'll do a little bit less. Do a softer knee. Cool, I like that. So now let's bring in our parallel processing. So how you parallel process is you take one, you take a sample or you take whatever and you duplicate it, and the second one you squash the crap out of it. Usually you have a really fast attack, you have a really kind of slower, or I mean it's really up to taste. You have a really fast or deep, and we're just gonna, let's see, I don't know, it might help to bring up the volume. We just really want to just squash it. So as you can see here, we're getting about 16 dB of compression, which is extremely overcompressed. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of blend it in with the other one. So I really like the way it sounds because it kind of like gives you that, there's an artifact there that something is really overcompressed or it sounds different, but you're not quite sure what it is. Well, it's that parallel processed track. So here's with it. And here's without. So everything just sounds a little bit more punchy, sounds a little bit more dynamic, it sounds a little bit more full. We're just really kind of bringing out those interesting. I really like the way that sounds. So we'll check our balance, make sure so far we have everything sounding decent. Let's check our reference. Cool. I think we're on track with our EQing and our compression so far. So let's move on to our intro sample. We'll turn on the compression there, and actually I'm going to start where it kind of kicks in here a little bit. So, I mean, if I wanted to, I thought about doing parallel processing on this sample too, but I kind of want it to be light. Just kind of, it's because it's an introduction. I kind of want it to be subtle. I want it to be very natural, and then kind of when we break it down, then I kind of want to have our unnaturalness. We want to kind of throw little ear candies, I guess you could say, into the mix. So let's reduce this a little bit, and I want a softer knee. We could do a faster attack. See, for me that's a bit too much compression. I want about 3 dB of compression, not 4. I like that. Okay, so now let's move on to our sample 1. And turn auto gain off. Let's get some settings kind of set here. We're going to have some percussion in this next sample, so maybe we can have it faster. So we can get rid of some of those transients. Faster or slower release. Maybe do, so we have a different sample there. So we have 5 dB of compression right when that kicks in, and I think that's a bit much for me. Boost this. Level up. Cool. And then let's go into our sample 3 here. And let's go into, let's get some, we're still going to have our percussion, so we want to kind of kill those transients. Let's have a softer attack. And let's bring this back a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that. Cool. So we have that. Now let's move on to our outro sample here, which should be, we don't want auto gain. So let's do, we can do a slower attack because there's really no percussion. Slower release. Do a little bit less. We have a softer knee. Bring this down. We'll get about 3 dB of compression. Simply because it's that might be a bit too much towards the end there. So we can bring this up. Actually, I want to bring it up in the DAW in Logic. Cool. Yeah, that'll work. So let's see if we can, how our transition sounds. Perfect. I really like that transition. I like the volume. So now let's move on to our basses, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. But that is quite alright. I'm not sure why. Let's do, I think it's Shift Command Color. Whoop, that's not what it is. I can't remember what the, there it is. Okay. So let's do sample 1. And we have, let's see, do we have percussive elements in here? We do. We don't want auto gain because we're professionals. Well, I am anyways. So let's bring up the attack. We definitely want some percussion in there, but we don't want a whole lot because see how that transitions first of all. Actually, let's get our compressor set up here. So we'll do a bit of a softer, faster attack, slower attack I should say. Kind of like how that's gluing everything together. Yep, I like that. So sample 4, sample 3. Why is this not neat? Boy, oh boy. All right, so sample 3. What are we having? Boy, we're really getting some compression there. So let's bring up the... Yep, I like that. And then let's do our outro bass, which is up here somewhere. Is it here? It is. It's the same. Duh. Apparently I can't read. So we'll leave that. Turn it down just a hair. So now what we're going to do... Oh, it might help to turn this on. And we'll go to our outro bass. Turn... Kind of a slower attack and a slower release, being that it's... There, I kind of like that. Let's check our reference. So our snares are a bit quiet. We can bring those up just a hair. Other than that, our compression sounds great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some side chaining. We're going to side chain, let's see, how do I want to do this? Did I side chain? Yeah, let's just side chain the kick. Let's just do this. Okay, so what we're going to do for a side chain is we're going to send the kick to bus 5, and we're going to send it, so we're sending the kick all the way over to bus 5, which is the side chain here, bus 5. Take the input, and it is bus 5, side chain, and we're going to make sure that it has no output, because if we're doing that, we're going to double the signal, as you can see here. We're going to get double the kick if we don't solo. So then we're getting double kicks, and you're going to get phasing, and that's not good. So we don't need an output for the sidechain. We just want it to be sent here just for a signal. Another thing I'm noticing here is we could turn all of these percussion things. Let's leave the snares on, but we can turn the hi-hats and everything, and the kick especially, onto, and even the bus on mono. Just because we, actually, why did I do that? Let's see. We'll leave everything. That's for recording. My bad. So we'll leave everything like that. I believe they're already in. So we have our kick sent to bus 5, and what I'm going to do is on the, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but it's somewhat necessary. I'm going to do on the sample bus, I'm going to put a compressor, and we're going to do stereo, and we'll do off, and we're going to go sidechain, and we're going to go bus 5 as the sidechain input. So now when we're listening here, we're going to get some ducking for our samples when the kick. So essentially what we're doing is when the kick hits, the samples are ducking. I don't want a lot though, because we have some of those, in the samples we have our percussive elements, so I don't want to like kill those completely, duck them when the kick comes in, because it sounds a little awkward. So I just want a little bit, just to kind of bring everything down. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bass bus. I'm going to bring in the compressor. I love the fat filter compressors. And we're going to do input. We'll do bus 5. And we'll do kind of a fast attack. We'll do a bit of a faster this. We'll do kind of a hard knee. So now when the kick comes in, the bass is going to duct, which is going to help clean up some of the low end. Why is this not working here? Sidechain, bus 5, input. That should be set up correctly. Do I have the right? Yeah. Yeah. It's, for some reason, it's being strange. Wait a minute here. Oh no, that's right. I was reading that wrong. Okay, so bus 12. Okay, cool. And then we'll give it half a dB in volume. Cool. So I like that. The sidechain is working. Everything else is working. Let's put on our reverb here, and then we'll move on. We'll do Space Designer, and there's a preset that I had that I really liked, and I don't know where they're all at. Maybe my my Mac has been, it's been really strange lately. I don't know what this deal is. So we'll turn this all the way up, turn the dry down. Turn this down. And then I'll send the snares to the reverb. So let's do small spaces. Rooms? I accidentally just discovered this. Let's try studio room. That works. I kind of like that. I just want it very, very subtle though. I don't want a lot of reverb at all. Because we've already got some on there, so I really want it just to give it a little bit of extra space here. Even put a little bit on the hi-hats here. And then let's try drowning this out. Let's see what that sounds like. Oh, that sounds really cool, actually. So let's leave that. Cool. Yeah, I like that. So let's check. So we got our side chaining. We got all of our compression. We have our reverb. So let's check our reference quick, and then we'll move on to the next video, which will be EQing everything, which is another process in itself. So let's check our reference, and we'll move on to EQing. Cool. I'm very pleased with how that is sounding. It's sounding a little bit different, and I'm liking it. Let's check. I just noticed something over here, so let's check our stereo out. Cool. We're sitting right where we should be, to be honest. So let's move on to the next video.